Now on CoastTV News.
Rehoboth Beach, money matters. Salaries for the city's mayor and commissioners are just one of the items up for review today. TikTok talk. Now that President Trump is back from the UK, how attention is turning towards China and the popular social media platform.
It's a foggy start for parts of Delmarva this Friday morning. How warm do we get? A summer-like feel, and your all-important weekend forecast.
Folk Festival Friday, the big event in Salisbury beginning today. What drivers in the city need to know with road closures going into effect.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning. I'm Matt Pensick. Lisa Weber is off today. And it is Friday, September 19th, 2025. First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono joins us with a look at First Alert weather. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Matt, and a pleasant good morning to you, Delmarva. We've seen some fog across portions of the area this morning. Patchy to dense at that. One of those areas, Cambridge, primarily further inland you go. You see a live look there. On the docks, 59 degrees there. Dew point 59, winds are pretty calm. See, though, further inland, a lot of primarily most of Dorchester County, as well as Somerset, Worcester, those areas seeing the fog. We've had visibility down to a quarter mile there in Salisbury, but continuing to get better there in Cambridge, as well as some patchy fog in and across Sussex County. But the National Weather Service does have a dense fog advisory up, and that runs through about 9 o'clock, primarily for Dorchester, Wicomico, Somerset, as well as Worcester County. Temperatures, though, beginning upper 50s to lower 60s. We're at 65 Georgetown, 69 Lewis, to 66 in Bethany Beach. Well, aside from the fog, we're clear, we're dry, we're free of any precipitation across much of the east. High pressure pushing eastward. This cold front up to the north, that's going to be sliding southward through the day and eventually passing us tonight into Saturday, and that's going to cool us down into the weekend. But I'll tell you what, we have a gorgeous Friday ahead of us and really a nice weekend, but on the cooler side. We won't stay in the 80s through the weekend, and then fall begins on Monday. Temperatures rising into the 70s through 10 a.m. on our way to highs in the mid to upper 80s. A beautiful end to what has been a dreary week. We'll talk more about the weekend ahead and a look at next week coming up in that full 7-day forecast. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. And let's get a look at some of the conditions. Chris was talking fog. This is Delmar moments ago. This is right above the Delaware-Maryland state line, and not as foggy this hour as when it was when we checked with this camera about an hour ago, but fog's still a little bit in play for drivers there. Okay, let's get a live look now at Salisbury University, tracking this camera all morning, and each time we get a look in over the last hour or so, the fog looks less. It was really dense around 4 a.m., but that's what you're about ready to head into in Wicomico County as you get ready to make your morning drive today. Our top story this hour, big decisions are on the table at today's Rehoboth Beach Commissioners meeting, from city salaries to replacing the children's fishing pier and other important topics. According to the agenda for the annual Commissioner reorganization meeting, there's a discussion and possible action regarding salaries for the mayor and commissioners. City leaders could appoint and also reappoint members to several groups, including the Planning Commission. Final design for a replacement of the children's fishing pier could also get a vote. And to be discussed at this meeting, an update on the use of the Rehoboth Beach Library. According to the library's report, over 8,000 people came through its doors in August, topping last year's total at 7,880. Visitors checked out more than 5,200 books, movies, and hotspots. And as fall approaches, the library says it has switched to off-season hours, now opening at 10 a.m. Mondays through Saturdays. The library has scheduled new art classes for the fall. And more information on this, especially those classes and programs, you can find that on CoastTV.com. The Delaware State Housing Authority is rolling out 2 new housing pilot programs aimed at disaster recovery and affordable housing reform. According to the agency, the Disaster Housing Pilot Program is a year-long effort with workshops, risk assessments, and custom recovery ordinances, while the Zoning and Land Use Reform Pilot Program focuses on boosting affordable housing by updating codes and expanding options. Today is National Concussion Awareness Day, and Delaware is using the occasion to spotlight youth athlete safety. The State Council for Persons with Disabilities is reminding families, coaches, and players about what they say are serious risks concussions pose for young athletes. According to the Concussion Protection in Youth Athletic Activities Act, coaches and officials must pull any player suspected of a concussion. The law bans same-day returns and mandates medical clearance before children can get back on the field. New this morning, Georgetown planners want input from people living in the town on the future of downtown. A development survey is now open for people to submit their ideas. Town officials say this is to help develop growth, improvements, and other opportunity plans. Last day to fill out the survey is October 15th. The Maryland Folk Festival, it starts today, and with it, several road closures across downtown Salisbury. According to the city's website, this is to make room for stages, vendors, and thousands of visitors. The city is closing the streets in phases. Some of those closures include Circle Avenue, Main Street, and Market Street. All streets are reopened by Thursday, September 25th, and the Maryland Folk Festival lasts through the weekend, September 21st. And speaking of the Folk Festival, Salisbury says it has received a big grant to enhance this year's event. The city was awarded $50,000 from the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority. This is to develop the Maryland Folklife stage and area, and the money will also support artist fees, stage rentals, signage, and audio storytelling. Speeding in Maryland, that could soon cost you a lot more money. According to the Salisbury Police Department, a new law changing how speed camera fines are calculated, that starts October 1st. Until now, every speed camera violation came with a flat $40 fine, but under House Bill 182 that was passed in May, state is rolling out a tiered penalty system. Drivers going 12 to 15 miles per hour over the limit, that stays at $40. But the fines increase with speed, up to $425 for those clocked at 40 miles per hour or more over the posted limit. Happening today, we do have a heads up for drivers in Salisbury. There is a temporary closure coming to Elizabeth Street. The city says that closure is at the railroad crossing between West Avenue and East Railroad Avenue. It's the area that we're showing you right here on your screen. Crews with Amtrak are doing scheduled maintenance through September 22nd, and the city confirms detours are planned. Now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., President Trump back in the city this morning after 2 days in the UK, where he talked trade and foreign wars with British leaders. And new overnight, today he's expected to have a key call with President Xi on trade and TikTok. NBC's Alice Barr shows us the president is also returning to a very big controversy. This is over the suspension of a late-night TV host.
President Trump is back in Washington, leaving behind his royal reception in the UK and diving into domestic debate. On Air Force One, suggesting broadcast networks he says are against him could lose their licenses.
I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Carr.
A reference there to the FCC chairman who criticized ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel and hinted at potential action shortly before the network indefinitely pulled the show off air over these comments.
The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
The issue stirring free speech questions at a press conference alongside UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, himself facing criticism from some on the right.
We need free speech in the UK because we've not had it for a long time.
While Trump protesters we spoke to accused him of silencing critics.
If he doesn't like somebody, he gets rid of them.
The president and prime minister also pressed on the intensifying war in Gaza, with the UK preparing to officially recognize a Palestinian state.
I have a disagreement with the prime minister on that score.
While Starmer nudged the president to ramp up pressure on Russian President Putin to end the assault on Ukraine. President Trump turning today to a call with China's President Xi Jinping, looking to close a TikTok deal to keep the popular app available to millions of American users. In London, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And we're just getting started in this hour on Coast TV News Today. Coming up, new gallery at Delaware Botanic Gardens. We get a look at the new features that are designed to help young learners. Also, talking transparency, what took place at a public interview with Lewis's mayor and which two Delaware leaders could get on the schedule next. And holiday mail details will tell you when to order or ship those packages in time for the year-end celebrations. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Good Friday morning, Delmarva. It's been a foggy start for some of us. We've seen some patchy to dense fog as we take a live look into Laurel, Sunrise, 646. It's going to be a gorgeous day. You can see that fog and that moisture there, and then across Laurel, 60 degrees there. Winds are relatively calm, and temperatures are going to be rising to about 68 by around 9 as that fog burns off to partly cloudy skies by around 10 a.m. You can see the fog. Most of the dense fog we've seen has been across portions of Dorchester and Wacomico counties, but we've seen that fog begin to shrink at this hour. We still do have dense fog advisories up for those areas, Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, as well as Worcester. Those run through about 9 a.m. High pressure building in. This cold front well off to the north is going to be pushing through later on tonight. As far as temperatures go this morning, 67 in Rehoboth, 67 Ocean City to 61 in Gumboro. So the fog to start over the next hour or two. Plenty of sunshine through late morning into the afternoon as we get up to 86 degrees. An absolutely gorgeous end to what has been a rather dreary week here on the peninsula. We'll talk more about the weekend ahead coming up in that full 7-day forecast. Matt.
All right, Chris. Happening today in Milford, the Delaware Office of Highway Safety is partnering with the Milford Police Department, and they're hosting a car seat check. Officers will help make sure they are installed correctly. Police are hosting this from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Milford Police Department. No appointment is needed for this event. The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services says there are now 5 harm reduction vending machines in Delaware. Here's what we're talking about. These are yellow machines that help prevent overdoses. They provide Narcan, fentanyl test strips, and wound care kits. Availability of other tools could occur. It's based on donations, and the department says these resources are free and they're designed for anonymous use. Locations include Dover, Milford, and Georgetown. Federal Trade Commission is suing Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation Entertainments. The lawsuit accuses them of failing to crack down on ticket resellers. It claims that alleged inaction is forcing customers to pay substantially more than face value for popular concerts and events. The lawsuit also takes aim at the company's fees and accuses it of bait and switch pricing. The U.S. Postal Service has announced its 2025 holiday season mailing dates for customers in the lower 48 states. This is for sending cards and gifts, and they are recommending by December 17th for Ground Advantage and First Class Mail. For Priority Mail, that date is December 18th. For Priority Mail Express, deadline, they say, is December 20th.
Well, some of us are stepping outside the door to some dense fog. It's been primarily across portions of Dorchester, Wacomico County, so continue to use caution heading out to school and work this morning, but we're all going to see the sunshine, and it's going to feel like summer from the bay to the ocean. We'll talk all about it coming up in my full 7-day forecast right after the break.
Time is 6:17, and you are looking live near the banks of the Choptank River in Cambridge. And got some fogs that we're still trying to work through this morning, Chris. Still foggy in parts, but compared to where we were at 4 a.m., not as foggy.
Yeah, we're seeing some improvement in those areas, primarily through the southwestern portion of the peninsula. As we take a live look into Laurel, you can see that fog across there, across the landscape. Beautiful shot there. The sun rising at 6:46. We're at 60 degrees. Dew point is 60. Winds are relatively calm, and when you get that combination, you get a recipe for fog formation, and you can see that primarily kind of to the southwest of Salisbury into just east of Cambridge and those areas, those outlying areas, still seeing fog at this hour. Now, the National Weather Service does still have this dense fog advisory up, primarily for Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, Worcester, and that runs through about 9 a.m. Once the sun rises, that fog is really going to begin to burn off. We're at 67 in Rehoboth, 66 Bethany Beach, 67 Ocean City, 63 in Millsboro. Winds are pretty calm, but you can see that wind flow is generally out of the west. We're clear, free of any precipitation under the influence of high pressure. This high is actually going to be pushing to the east. And then this cold front, you can see not much moisture associated with this front. That's going to be dropping through here late tonight through the day on Saturday. Well, it's been a rather below average month so far. We had that 190 degree there on back on the 5th, and we're going to be well above average today. But overall, looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, well, we're looking at above normal temperatures as we round out the month of September. Once we burn the fog off, we're looking pretty nice, 71 by around 10, on our way to highs in the mid to upper 80s. Yes, a taste of summer as we round out this last weekend of official summer. 81 Cambridge, 82 Easton. We'll see 86 Snow Hill to 85 in Ocean City. So once we burn that fog off, we're looking really nice this afternoon from the bay to the ocean. Beautiful sea breeze kicking in this afternoon. It's going to be a gorgeous evening for any plans. Tonight, clear skies. We dip into the upper 50s to lower 60s away from the coast, and then we'll see more of that northeasterly wind kick in tomorrow. So it will be cooler in the mid to upper 70s, but we will see more clouds roll in. I think late Saturday through Sunday, maybe a brief sprinkle at the coast, but we're going to be primarily dry and even a bit cooler there on Sunday under partly sunny skies with highs in the lower 70s. So all in all, a pretty nice weekend as we round out the final weekend of summer here, lower to mid 70s as we go into the day on Sunday. So we warm it back up into the upper 70s on Monday ahead of another cold front. 80s into Tuesday, and there's the front pushing through Wednesday, and that will bring another threat of rain to the area. Well, Tropical Storm Gabrielle, she woke up overnight. You can see looking much more healthier at this hour. Sustained winds at 50 miles an hour. Good news is this is going to stay a tropical storm, eventually become a Category 1, Category 2 hurricane into early next week, but make that curve out to sea. So just expect some rough surf and some rip currents, but we'll continue to keep a close eye on it through the weekend. We're up to 78 on Monday as we usher in fall there Monday afternoon, 83 on your Tuesday, and then we're looking at that chance of showers Wednesday as a cold front pushes through. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. In honor of upcoming celebrations of the 250th anniversary of our country, a group in Lewis is putting on a series to highlight transparency in local government. For about 2 hours, journalists interviewed Lewis Mayor Amy Marasco in front of the public, and then the people, they had a chance to ask their own questions. And some of the topics that audience members brought up included how the city is handling growth. The mayor pledged to make quick changes in its dark sky initiatives and the 4th Street Forest. At the event was newly elected Representative Alana Berry and Senator Russ Huxtable. They pledged to take part in upcoming public interviews like this.
There's salsa in the streets, skateboarding by the beach, and much more this weekend, so stay tuned for your cool things to do.
Check that out. New additions are now on display at the Delaware Botanic Gardens after a ribbon-cutting ceremony on Thursday. The celebration marked the opening of their gallery garden and meadow pavilion. The organization says these new features will provide more educational opportunities for visitors and more activities for the center.
Major programs for children and also outreach programs for the community, whether it be for children, teenagers, or adults. There's many opportunities now, especially with the gallery garden and the Panoni Pavilion, but also venues. I mean, we can have weddings, large weddings, small weddings.
And that evening also doubled as the Garden's annual charity dinner. Final weekend of summer, and if summer is leaving us, it is doing so, Chris, in fine fashion today.
Oh yeah, we've timed this up perfectly after the dreary week we had with that coastal system, and beautiful shot here into Lewis as we await that sunrise coming up at 6:46. Waves pretty calm. It's going to be a really nice day to take the boat out, or maybe a sailboat. Looking pretty good there. Lewis coming in really nice with temperatures in the 60s to start. Low risk of rip currents. So Ocean City beginning in the 60s, on our way to highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. We'll have a nice sea breeze that kicks in. Plenty of sunshine through Lewis and Rehoboth with highs right around 80. Seas about 1 to 2 feet. Now, this is the zone where we've had the fog this morning through portions of Cambridge and Crisfield. So we begin with some fog, but once that burns off, we're going to see plenty of sunshine through the afternoon with those highs getting into the lower 80s. Frankie Fury, Frankfort, Delaware, you're the winner of our weather umbrella. Congratulations there. And you can get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert Weather Phone, sponsored by Broxted Mandalis Federico. We'll have a look at your weekend forecast in the next half hour. Matt.
Okay, Chris. Streets are coming live. The music is getting louder, and this weekend's going to be anything but boring. Here's Coast TV's Christina DeRobertis with a look at your cool things to do.
This weekend has everything from skateboarding to salsa dancing, and we'll start with the latter as Georgetown hosts Festival Hispano downtown. It's on Sunday from 11 to 7 on North Ray Street, celebrating Hispanic culture with food, live music, and community. This year marks the 31st edition of the festival. If you want to give back this weekend, you can join Captain Jack Sparrow and his pirate crew in Ocean Pines Sunday morning for the Marine Debris Plunder. It's a family-friendly cleanup with prizes for all the trash you haul in. Ocean City is rolling out the red carpet for skaters this weekend. The first class of the Mid-Atlantic Skateboard Hall of Fame gets inducted on Saturday. In Milford, it's the city's largest annual outdoor festival on Saturday, the Riverwalk Freedom Festival. Starts at 9 a.m. and goes all day long. There's going to be live music, a brew garden, and the annual Duck Dash, plus fireworks at dusk. And the Delaware Resort's Fall Home Expo is back this weekend at Cape Henlopen High School. There's going to be more than 80 home-related exhibitors under one roof. It's free and open to the public both Saturday and Sunday. And you can find event details, tickets, and more over on CoastTV.com. Just click on Cool Things to Do.
Now on Coast TV News.
Checkouts climb. Why August was a big month for the Rehoboth Beach Library and the report that will be presented today to the city's commissioners. TikTok tension, the future of the social media platform as President Trump has scheduled talks with China today. Stages, shopping, and shutdowns. Salisbury gets ready to kick off the Maryland Folk Festival, the big changes for drivers in the city in the upcoming days.
It's a foggy start for parts of Delmarva this Friday morning. How warm do we get? A summer-like feel, and your all-important weekend forecast.
This is Coast TV News Today.
September 19th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Lisa Weber has the morning off, and it is 6:30 a.m. First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono joins us now to help you prepare as you make your way out the door. Good morning, Chris.
Good Friday morning, Matt. A pleasant good Friday morning, Delmarva. It's been a foggy start for some of us. You can see a live look into Laurel at fog. That morning dew there, the lower levels there burning off. Beautiful shot there. Laurel coming in at 60 degrees, dew point 60. Winds have been pretty calm for the most part, and that has allowed for some fog to form, but we are improving. We were down to as low as quarter mile in Cambridge and Salisbury, now down to a half a mile. So we're beginning to see some of that fog burn off. Fog has been really an issue along the Atlantic coast, but we do still have that dense fog advisory. Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, as well as Worcester County, that runs through about 9 a.m. this morning, but conditions are going to continue to improve here. We're down to 59 there. Harrington, 65. Georgetown, 62. Gumboro, 63. Longneck to 66 in Bethany Beach. So we're dry, and we're going to stay that way today. Plenty of sunshine through the afternoon, all thanks to high pressure just off to our southwest. This cold front up to the north, that's going to ever so slowly slide southward, push through later tonight. Backdoor cold front is going to cool us to start the weekend, but we'll start off today in the 60s, rise to about 71 by around 10 a.m. On our way to highs in the mid to upper 80s, a gorgeous summer-like feel to round out what has been quite a gloomy week here on Delmarva. So a beautiful afternoon after that patchy fog, and the weekend overall looking pretty dry and tranquil, a bit cooler. As that cold front pushes through, we'll see temperatures fall into the 70s. We'll talk more about the rest of the weekend and that extended forecast coming up a little later on. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. We've been talking about the fog this morning, so let's check out some of the conditions on the roads. This is Laurel. And as you can see, a little foggy still there on Route 13. This is just south of the downtown area. We're now getting a live look at Salisbury University as we check out that live camera. You can see that haze and mist in the sky, but I'm telling you, 4 hours ago, a lot of this wasn't visible, the buildings, because there was thick fog. That seems to have gone away quite a bit. That is what you will be driving into in the middle part of the peninsula this morning. Our top story this half hour, key items up for view at today's Rehoboth Beach Commissioners meeting. According to the agenda for the annual commissioner reorganization, there was a discussion and possible action on the salaries for the mayor and the commissioners. City leaders could appoint and also reappoint members to several groups, and that includes the Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment, and Personnel Committee. Final design of a replacement for the Children's Fishing Pier could get a vote, and Rehoboth Beach Mayor Stan Mills and the commissioners talking about this. Their meeting starts at 2 p.m. Also to be discussed at that meeting, there is an update on people visiting the Rehoboth Beach Library. According to the library's report, over 8,000 people came through its doors in August. That tops last year's total of over 7,800. Visitors checked out more than 5,200 books, movies, and hotspots. And as fall approaches, the library says it is switched to off-season hours, opening at 10 a.m. Mondays through Saturdays. The library has scheduled new art classes for the fall. Georgetown planners want public input on the future of downtown. A downtown development survey is now open to gather those ideas from the community. Officials say there's a chance for people living in Georgetown to share their views for growth, improvements, other opportunities in Georgetown's downtown area. The last day to fill out the survey is October 15th. The Maryland Folk Festival is kicking off today, and that also means several road closures across downtown Salisbury starting today. According to the city's website, this is to make room for the stages, the vendors, thousands of visitors. The city is closing the streets in phases, and some of those include Circle Avenue, Main Street, and Market Street. All streets will reopen by Thursday, September 25th, and the Maryland Folk Festival runs until this Sunday, September 21st. Speeding through Maryland, that could cost you a lot more, and here's why. The Salisbury Police Department says a new law is changing how speed camera fines are calculated, and that starts October 1st. Until now, every speed camera violation came with a flat $40 fine, but under House Bill 182, that was passed in May, the state is rolling out a tiered penalty system. Drivers going 12 to 15 miles per hour over the limit will still pay $40, but fines increase with speed, up to $425 for those clocked at 40 miles per hour or more over the posted limit. Happening today, we do have a heads up for drivers in Salisbury. A temporary closure coming to Elizabeth Street. The city says the closure is at Railroad Crossing between West Avenue and East Railroad Avenue. You can see that location right here on your screen. That's because crews with Amtrak are doing scheduled maintenance through September 22nd. The city confirms detours are planned. And we're now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. on this Friday morning. Funding for the federal government set to run out at the end of this month, and that means a shutdown is looming once again. Democrats and Republicans are putting forth separate continuing resolutions. As Amy Kiley shows us, the question is whether they can work together to find a version that avoids a government shutdown.
I don't know how they can object to it. I really don't.
Both chambers of Congress are expected to take up funding bills today. They're aimed at avoiding a government shutdown September 30th. Plans from both parties boost lawmaker security. Republicans say theirs is otherwise clean and has 7 weeks of funding. The Democrats' bill undoes Medicaid cuts and enshrines Obamacare subsidies. It reverses some DOGE reductions and runs through October.
Let's talk about a way to help keep people's costs down for their health care.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says Republicans in his chamber have enough votes to greenlight the GOP plan.
It's a total good faith effort to allow appropriators on both sides of the aisle to continue their work.
The Senate is set to vote on bills from both parties today, but neither seems able to pass. Republicans need a handful of Democrats to join them to overcome a filibuster. They might get some.
If you vote to shut our government down, you are going to harm millions of Americans.
But largely, Democrats sound firm.
They even refuse to have bipartisan negotiations. We've always had bipartisan negotiations on this.
Finger pointing is underway since shutdowns are unpopular. The House GOP whip predicts Senate Democrats will fold.
We're going to keep the government open. This is Republicans and Democrats understand that's a bad thing.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
President Trump back at the White House this morning after a 2-day visit to the UK, and he's stepping into a big controversy after suggesting broadcast networks that he says are against him could lose their licenses. That's a reference there to the FCC chairman who criticized ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel and hinted at potential action. This was shortly before the network indefinitely pulled the show off the air over these comments.
The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
And that issue sparking free speech questions at a Trump press conference. We have a lot more news ahead on Coast TV News Today in this final half hour. Coming up, preserving park history, how one Kent County community came together to update infrastructure while still preserving the past. Also, Milford Friday Night Football. We preview tonight's game between the Bucks and Woodbridge Blue Raiders. An investigation into intense fire. What the Maryland State Fire Marshal says the cause was in Salisbury that resulted in thousands of dollars in damage. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Well, we made it to Friday, Delmarva, as we take a live look into Lewis. Beautiful conditions there as we await the sunrise. Temperature there is 64 degrees. Dew point is 63. Winds are pretty calm. The area we've been seeing the fog this morning has been primarily across Cambridge into Salisbury, and visibility slowly improving there. We had visibility down to less than a quarter of a mile there, but that fog will be burning off through the next hour or so. High pressure building into the area, and that's going to allow for a really nice day. And we're going to warm these temperatures up really nicely through the afternoon. 67 Rehoboth, 66 Bethany Beach to 65 in Georgetown. As we take a look at the almanac for today, well, 91 was the record high set back in 1978. Forecasting highs at 86, the record low 37 back in 1984. As we take a look at temperatures this afternoon, 83 to 86, could see some areas top 87 to 88, especially away from the coast under mostly sunny skies. We'll talk about a cooler weekend ahead coming up in that full 7-day forecast. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. Maryland State Fire Marshal says the cause of this fire that we're showing you here in Salisbury was due to an unattended candle. The office says the fire broke out around 10:30 a.m. in a single-story home on Pine Way. According to the fire marshal, no injuries were reported, but damage is estimated at $25,000. The Assateague Island National Seashore is kicking off their week-long Bio Blitz. It's this Sunday, and you can join a ranger-guided bird walk that starts at 8 a.m. at the Life of the Forest Trailhead. That walk is 2 hours, and it spans about a half mile through the forest in March. Participating in this walk will help the seashore document thousands of species.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Few things in life are guaranteed. Death, taxes, and Friday night lights on DSN. Woodbridge is just one win through its first 3 games. The Raiders started a stellar 3-0 the previous 2 seasons. But their setbacks have come against stiff competition on the road. Caesar Rodney and Sussex Central. A pair of undefeated squads so far this fall. Despite the 1-2 start, Woodbridge remains optimistic because of their all-district running back, Malachi Hayes.
You know, Malachi is one of them guys who makes the right choices. I've always said we're a product of the choices we make. He always puts the team's choices ahead of his own personal goals, and that makes the team follow him. He's a heck of a player. He was been a 1,000-yard rusher the last 2 years. He's the guy we're going to anchor on when we have to have something close. We're going to go to him. I always said that when I call plays in crucial situations, you don't call plays, you call people. You want the people you know can handle the situations. And he's that guy. The bigger the moment, the bigger he performs.
Over 800 rushing yards for Malachi last year, already 170 through 3 games this year. Kickoff tonight is at 7. That'll do it for sports. Have a great one.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 7, we have live Delaware High School football when Milford visits Woodbridge. But before that, 6 o'clock down in distance. And then the Scoops and Scores pregame show at 6:30. After the game, 10:30, we have Nittany Game Week, and at 11, catch the final score. Now, along with that Milford-Woodbridge game, here's your DSN Plus exclusives. All high school football here at 6 o'clock. North Carolina takes on Easton. Seaford is hosting First State Military, and then at 7, you can watch Lake Forest at Dover. Fall isn't just for football, it's for marching band too. The Delmarva Sports Network will cover 6 marching band competitions featuring over a dozen schools from across the peninsula. These competitions will stream exclusively on DSN+. That first one is scheduled for Saturday, September 20th. Sunday Night Football back on Coast TV. September 21st, the Chiefs are in the New York metro area taking on the Giants. Coverage begins at 7, only here on Coast TV. And then stay with us for our local news after the big game. Rough week? Well, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. Sign up now for free at coasttv.com/signup and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's a look at what you can see today, 4 o'clock p.m. on Coast Life.
Happy Friday, Coast Life. Here's what's coming up today at 4 o'clock. Because it's Friday, we've got another sweet, adorable pet to introduce you to with our Pet of the Week. Don't forget to open your hearts, open your home, and this little guy could be all yours. We're also going to be heading to Ocean City to do a little bit of shopping at Tied Together Boutique. And it is fall at Pfeiffer's in Camden, Wyoming. Lots of stuff going on that we will tell you all about, things that you don't want to miss when it comes to planning out your fall weekends, your fall seasons for some great family memories. All of that is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
Well, it's time for some patchy fog this morning through parts of Delmarva. It is going to be an absolutely gorgeous morning and a gorgeous afternoon. Highs reaching the mid to upper 80s, maybe even a few 90s on the board today across parts of Delmarva. We'll talk about a cooler weekend ahead coming up in that full 7-day forecast right after the break.
Time is 6:48 on this Friday morning. We're getting a live look at the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewis. They're waiting sunrise there. You know, the early glow of the early morning just before the sun comes up there over the Atlantic Ocean. But Chris, we got a good day cooking, especially in this area of the Delaware coast. It's going to be a great day at the beach.
Oh yeah, spectacular as we kind of soak up the last few days of summer here on Delmarva. There's that sun rising here in Laurel. You can see that fog burning off. Nice shot there. 60 degrees there. Winds are pretty calm. We're hitting our lows for the day currently, and we've seen some patchy to dense fog throughout the morning hour, and it's been primarily across this corridor from Cambridge down through Salisbury, but visibility beginning to improve. We're up to 1.25 miles. We were as low as 1/4 mile earlier this morning. We still do have dense fog advisories up for that area. Those runs through about 9 a.m. Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, as well as Worcester counties. But as that sun rises, conditions will be drastically improving. 65 Georgetown to 64 Millsboro. We're at 67 Rehoboth to 67 Ocean City. Winds are relatively calm with that wind flow out of the west. We're clear, we're dry, we're doing pretty nice to round out this week. High pressure building in. Backdoor cold front is going to be pushing through our area late tonight through Saturday, and that will help bring us cooler temperatures. It's been a rather cool half of the month, 14 days below average. We had that one little day there, 90 degrees back on the 5th, but overall trending rather above normal as we round out the month of September. Temperatures getting to about 78 by around noon, on our way to highs in the mid to upper 80s, maybe even a 90 or 2 on the board, especially away from the coast. 84 Lewis, 85 in Harrington, 84 to Vienna. See highs 86 in Salisbury. Winds relatively calm throughout the day today. So there's the clear skies through Futurecast. Beautiful Friday evening. If you have any plans tonight, we dip into the upper 50s to lower 60s under mainly clear skies. A mostly sunny Saturday. Then we'll see more of that northeast to easterly wind kick in. That will allow for more clouds to break out late Saturday through Sunday, and much cooler into Sunday. Maybe a spotty shower at the coast, but I think we'll be primarily dry. Lower to mid 70s. Maybe some of us not even getting out of the upper 60s as we go into the day on Sunday. So a little bit of everything for somebody this weekend. We have a little bit of summer today and some stuff for the fall-like folks into Sunday, 73. And then we'll warm things back up into Monday into Tuesday ahead of another front that will bring us a chance of showers into Wednesday. So overall, a rather dry stretch of weather. Gabrielle, she woke up overnight. You can see looking much more healthier. Sustained winds at about 50 miles an hour. The good news with this storm is it's going to remain out to sea, stay a tropical storm, then eventually become a Category 1 to Category 2 hurricane into early next week and track east of Bermuda. So we're looking at just primarily some higher than normal surf and some rip current threats as we go into next week. But overall, a pleasant weekend ahead. Again, a bit cooler, a bit more clouds there on Sunday. We're up to 78 on Monday as we usher in fall. And then look at that, 83 into Tuesday. And then there's that front moving through Wednesday with a chance of showers. That.
All right, thank you, Chris. This week is Construction Appreciation Week in Delaware. The Department of Labor and DelDOT are hosting free workshops, presentations, and job fairs. And happening today, got a big event to tell you about. There's a hard hat and high heels workshop. This highlights women in construction, and that event is at the United Electric Supply in Newcastle County. A beloved Kent County park is one step closer to a new future. In June, the county announced Piccadilly Castle at Brecknock Park is getting replaced. That's due to aging infrastructure. A public survey with more than 500 responses show that many neighbors say they want to preserve the park's nostalgic feel, with more than half prioritizing the natural wood look of the current design. Open-ended comments confirm that honoring the park's past as the top priority, and county officials say they will use this input to help with the redesign.
We're going to listen, and we're going to try to do best to make sure that this is as good moving forward as it was in the past.
Officials say the next step is to form a committee to review playground designs and narrow proposals based on that community feedback. And then once the options are selected, the public can get a look before county seeks levy court approval. The construction is expected to begin late next year. Right now it's 6:52 this morning. Time to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And in this hour, our coastal pet once again comes to us from the Brandywine Valley SPCA. That is Kuma on your screen, and Kuma has so much love to give. He'll make a great companion, and we're being told he's the world's best cuddle bug. So if you want to adopt Kuma, Tom, who we had last hour, or any other lovable pet, just head on over to the Brandywine Valley SPCA. And also, they are looking for their perfect pictures for the 2026 Picture Perfect calendar. To register, just go to the BV SPCA website. And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos. Tell us what makes them special. On your screen's the QR code. Scan that, and then you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. 6:56 a.m. Here's a quick look at your forecast before you head out the door. Actually, I think we're going to some one-story things to know, or are we just going right to weather, guys? What do we got here? All right, we're going to go right to weather. Hey, it's Friday. We got Friday vibes going on. Chris, my advice is let's have ourselves a Friday.
I know, right? I'll tell you what, it's been a dreary week. We were dealing with the rain, the wind there over the last few days, but I'll tell you what, we cleared out pretty nicely late yesterday, and we're carrying that momentum into our Friday. We had some fog to start this morning, but plenty of sunshine through the afternoon and a beautiful lunchtime hour, 70 to lower 80s, on our way to highs in the mid to upper 80s across Delmarva today. We'll have a backdoor cold front that pushes through tonight. That drops us back to around 76 on Saturday, so the weekend looking pretty good. So we have a little summer for our summer folks. We have a little fall into Sunday. We'll have a bit more cloud cover with more of an onshore wind Sunday. Some of us may not even get out of the 60s, especially along the coast on Sunday. Then as we go into Monday, we're at 78 under mostly sunny skies. Fall officially arrives 219 on Monday, 83 Tuesday, and then we'll see a cold front come through on Wednesday with a temperature of 79 degrees.
All right, Chris, dropping temperatures there over the next couple of days. Thanks, Chris, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today. The Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m., and then we'll be back with Coast TV News midday at 11, so stick with us for that. And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Friday morning, everybody.